So wonderful, wonderful. Holy cows, Batman!
What's going on?
What's going on? So good to see you. So good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I am truly honored to have Mike together here with me today. We met each other in an R Circle discussion. Those of you who don't know it, it's a recruitment chat show. And we had some fun, we had some laughs, we had some challenging ideas. And apparently Mike likes data. Apparently he doesn't just be gut. I think this is how it works. So am I right? Am I wrong?
That is accurate. Yeah, I've very strong opinions backed by data.
Exactly. And since we are not the weak of heart and we do have opinions, so this is why we're going to be looking at those datas and those ideas. I love it. Stalzia says, yeah, I also noted that's hilarious. Awesome. See, he's unmasked. Yes, the unmasked man. Way to go, Steve. Yeah. All right. Oh, and apparently, you know, you have musical abilities. Oh, and he also does have, oh, wait, Mike, I need to see, you have something there. I believe it's on your printer. Do you think you can get that thing off of your printer real quick?
This is formerly known as the Bat Hat.
All right, so enough levity here. All right. So I'm honored to have you here together today. A lot of people know you, really particular data-centered approach, and it's really this piece to say, as we look to making those best practices, understanding, you know, how do we email? Do we just bombard people and hope for the best? Do we bombard and then pray for the best? How do we go about this so that we're actually really being effective? And is effectiveness across all groups? Is it all the same, or do we need to differentiate when we're looking at these things?
Yeah, it's just send 800 emails a day to everybody who has the buzzwords on their profile. That's it, guys. It's going to be your best.
Brilliant.
Yeah, your best bet. That's super quality recruiting right there. You say the word job on your profile, you're getting an email. Boom.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Brett says just overwhelm. If you overwhelm, then you're good to go. All right. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, that's right, Brett. Yep, that was it, guys. That's actually my whole presentation. It's 40 slides that say email everyone.
Exactly. If we had a mic drop, this is what it would be.
Yeah. If anybody doesn't know me who's on here, I actually despise LinkedIn as a company. Like, absolutely despise them. I'm on their platform. I use their platform. It's a great database. I think LinkedIn Recruiter is crippling the sourcing and recruiting community and lowering the bar and allowing more crappy recruiters in. And I think they, as an organization, have turned into something. They're not sponsors, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, yeah, so. They've turned into blood-sucking over the past 5 or 6 years. So yeah, I probably should check that before I started crap talking, but they know I'm friends with their former global head of product. Like, they know my feelings.
Yes, exactly. I love it. I love it. Okay.
Yep.
Too funny. Too funny. So with that, we've laid that foundation. We say what we feel. We have that openness. It's part of our virtues. And if we don't speak to things, then they're going to be in sidebar chats, and we want to make sure, you know, what's that openness of sharing. So, yep. And I do want to make a note. I'm Selena. I'm not Robin.
Oh, Selena Kyle, what a good reference. Good on you. That makes all of this even better. Guys, please, during the chat or during the presentation, please do ask a bunch of questions. This is for you guys, not for me. I've already done all the research. I don't mind if I don't get all the way through the presentation. I can share my slides with you. I do care that each of you is getting value from this. So I will stop in the middle of my presentation. Please interrupt me. I'm from New York. We basically communicate in swearing, sarcasm, and interruptions. So, all right.
All right.
Uh,
Take it away.
I'm going to kick this off if that's cool with everybody. Boop and boop. All right. So today's talk, I really wanted to talk about email best practices. And I wanted to discuss it from a little bit of a different perspective than I ever have in the past. And I think that anybody that I've seen has discussed it in the past as well. So let's get this going. So first off, this is me. I do contract sourcing, a very unique model. Guillaume, I think, is probably the only person I know who does something similar, besides maybe paired sourcing. It's all deliverables based instead of hourly. On top of that, I also am an indoor cycling instructor. So that big personality and yelling, I found a perfect home being on top of a bike. Those are all the ways you can contact me. It's literally everything /Batman Recruiter. So pretty easy. I'm on Insta also, but I don't use it. So feel free to reach out, follow me. Following up from Mark's talk, I absolutely love when people reach out, have questions, want to know more. I try and be as available as possible to help the community. It's my company's mission to be the rising tide that lifts all boats in this space. So please reach out. So here's the agenda for today. We're going to cover these 5 main points. There's a lot in most of these, so I'm going to have to go pretty quickly. So please do stop me at any point if you have questions or want some clarity as well. I'll cover it in a sec. So I love this quote. William E. Deming was a statistician. Probably shouldn't use a word I can't pronounce. And this quote is kind of the backbone of this whole presentation, right? So in God we trust, everyone else should bring data, right? So this was actually the impetus for this entire talk. Is one of the things, if you know me, you know I'm not quiet with my opinions. And one of the things that gets me the most is having people share quote unquote best practices or whatever it is, without providing data to support why that's a best practice, right? Those are just fluffy opinions from someone who thinks they know a thing about a thing. And so regarding data, I want to approach this, and I'd love if people approached all advice and suggestions and opinions, if they can, from a place of either research or historical data. Show me some research that's been done online, not just a random site saying, we've done a bunch of research and these are the best. Cool. What research? Show me. Let me see the data, right? Or show me the historical data of what you've done. How many times have we read, oh, this subject line got me a 95% open rate. Cool. I mean, did you send it to 20 people? Because that's, while cool, I guess, that's not really a sample size to see if something works. Send it to 100, 200 people, and then show us that data and tell me what works or what doesn't work. So without further ado, we're going to jump in. I have tons of GIFs throughout this because I have ADHD. And images help me. So I read graphic novels. So guys, understanding your audience. So this is the first thing when people are like, oh, what's the best thing you can do in a subject line? Just understand your audience that you're reaching out to. Not everyone is going to respond the same to that amazing subject line you had, right? We learned that the hard way. I picked up a machinist role, which is way outside the scope of what I normally do. But it was a buddy of mine's company and an exclusive. So it's like, sure, normal messaging, open rates were like 30%, right? We switched up the subject line though, because we found that most of the people who left their jobs for a new job were leaving for more money. So we literally said, hey, offering high salary and benefits, which is rare in the space, all of a sudden response rates shoot up, right? We know what these common career trajectories are in the state of the industry that we're recruiting in. So take that into account when putting together your subject line. Wim, you asked, do I pronounce it GIF or GIF? I incorrectly pronounce it GIF. I understand the person who created them pronounces it GIF. I I can't. That's a peanut butter. I can't get behind that. It's GIF as far as I'm concerned. But, I respect both. So subject lines, advice number 2, there are 2 motivations to opening an email. One is utility and the other is curiosity. So utility is realistically, how useful is this going to be to me? Is there something here that I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I want that. Or is it the curiosity piece of, what's this about? I'm pretty interested. Curiosity, in my experience, which I'll show you, normally wins out for me. So if you're wondering, where the hell did I get that data from? That quote at the bottom in italics is actually from a journal article that I purchased to do this. That link down there, I've downloaded all of them to my Google Drive and I'm sharing every journal article that I bought with you guys. A, fact check me. B, use that for yourselves. Read the articles. They're great. They're great sources of knowledge. Question, how do you get to understand your audience? How did you find out about you needing to mention salary in the subject line? Understand your audience from talking to candidates, right? We screen candidates or we read content within the space, hopefully, right? If you're placing FP&A folks, you're reading about financial, changes in the market, changes in regulation. And then how did I know that it was about money? I talked to 3 machinists who did respond, and they all were leaving for more money. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna probably assume here, kind of which one is the right one. Boop, boop, boop. PowerPoint is black, but the video works. Really? You guys are anybody not seeing the slide? We see data slide. Interesting. All right. I'll back out and I'll reshare my screen again. Boom. I'm not even on a Mac. This is legit on a, you guys see that?
It's opening up now.
Okay.
It's still black screen.
That's dope. Cool. It's really helpful.
Okay. Are we, yep, it's still black screen.
Oh, this is fun. All right, let's try one more thing here. Maybe if I move it over to this screen.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Let's try this one.
All right.
Yeah.
Now we see your presentation. Yep, exactly. We see it in the notes function. Yep.
Cool. We're good.
So go on presentation and see if it will go then. So I can see it.
Anybody? We're good?
Yeah, perfect. David says perfect. And
Woo-hoo!
you guys are awesome.
Cool. Yeah, so that's weird. So I had slides with crap on them. So there's that. Yeah, that, you missed that. And now we're here. So now this will make a little more sense. This is the quote right here that I was referencing for you guys. And here's the link. It's all waynete.ch, WayneTech, / and then the article link. You guys, they're all open links. Download all of the articles, please. Make use of the fact that I went out and found them. Please, please. Next, want to look at personalization rules. So this was actually a really cool journal article because it was really psychologically based, and they did this huge case study over what did it look like to actually create connections with people and get positive impressions. So here are the 3 things that I got out of reading this was personalizing email, always king. Evoking emotion is really important. And positive readability. Positive readability meaning the way it's laid out is very readable. It's very comfortable to read. It's very natural. And so there are, by the way, there's like 40 something rules that they came up with. These are the positive rules. Just a few of them that really stood out to me. Rule 13, putting an organization name in there. I have a lot of historical proof that this works. Personalized content, obviously, that's going to work pretty well. The word give is really interesting. When that appears, there tends to be a little bit more focus put on it. And then, guys, check this out. Less than 50 characters, super important. That is, you guys really want to focus on that. And then they also have negative rules. So don't start with an adjective. Pretty weird, right? Very, pink, awesome. Don't start with those words. And also interesting, less than 15 characters, no bueno. So again, bunch of rules around this. They did a whole research case study around some of this data. And a hot tip about this, guys, this is huge. If this is all you take away from this, it'll be worth it. Use their company name in the subject line, right? So you're reaching out to Dean DaCosta, right? Works at Lockheed Martin Missile Defense Group. Use Lockheed Martin in the subject line, but clean up the data, right? If you're like, hey, Dean, how are things going? Lockheed Martin Missile Defense Group. He's going to facepalm and just be like, this is a crappy formatted, spam message. So how do I know this works? So these are my actual messages that have been sent. They've all been sent in the last 1 year, right? So great example. This is a pretty sweet role. Their company name, both had 100% open and sent to 86 people. FinTech shop, 59 million in funding, DevOps Eng. That I thought for sure would get people's attention. Company, 69% open rate. Company versus any interest in new recruiter roles, 77 versus 75. Company versus global tech company head of people, 50 versus 41. InfoSec manager role at New York Times. I thought that would absolutely crush it. Nope. Company beat it again. I can keep going, guys. I have pages of these, right? Marketing manager versus company. Company wins. Their company name wins almost every time. This is Interstellar is the tool I'm using, Guillaume. I just recently started using Lemlist, and it is my new favorite. I don't have time to go over it in this presentation. If you want to find out more about that, reach out. You can basically put modifiers like first name, company, etc., in images to create custom memes. It is so sick. Moving on. Oh, look, more. Global health tech company, 66. Company, 76. FinTech, again, for a software manager versus company, guys, there's a huge disparity. So I'm trying to provide as much historical data as I can to show you company name just works. There are some unique subjects, right? These are two of, I think, like the 4 in the last year where company didn't win. One is looking for a GM of a Series B fintech shop. That's objectively a pretty sexy reach out. And I was reaching out to a bunch of folks at like Uber and Google and LinkedIn and Airbnb where this would have been a step up. And again, it just beat it. Same thing here, global tech company, lead recruiter, where recruiters. So if I read that, I'd be like, huh, interesting. It was also sent to people in Seoul, South Korea. So I don't necessarily know what the translation would be in terms of efficacy on that side. Company is the name of their company in the subject line. Yes, this is a modifier that based on the data I upload will fill their company name in, which I'll show you in a moment. Just company as subject line or integrated, just their company name win. So if you think about it, if someone reached out to me, for example, and the title was Wayne Tech, I'd be like, yeah, what about Wayne Tech, right? Like, I want to know what's going on with my company. Any platform that can handle drips with email and social media actions. Brett, I wish I could help on that, dude. If anybody knows anything, please put that out there. Yes, Michael, just putting in the company name and nothing else. That's it. That's literally what got all of those open rates. Do I have any data around company name versus first name? I do not. So I'm not a huge fan of using first name in the subject line. For me personally, when I get emails like that, it comes across as a little cheesy. That being said, I think that's definitely worth exploring. So great point. I'll definitely bring that up. What makes you say it works? Reggie, we're looking at open rates, not reply rates. Reply rates have to do with the messaging itself, which as you can see on these, can be a little weak, right? That's a little weak. Granted, it's the first of 5 emails. So you'll see kind of the efficacy of these as we go on in a little bit. The open rate, what I'm trying to show is the efficacy of just this. Sent to work or personal emails, 90% personal. It's literally the guarantee we give people. Any data about the unemployed? No. And it's super difficult when you're doing something like this. I usually create a separate sequence for people who are very clearly unemployed. Reply rate we're going to get to. It's the second part of the presentation. First name works great. Done and tested. Guillaume, send me the data. I will gladly show it. I love that. Cool. Thanks, Iker. So I'm going to keep going. So this is super important. If you're using company names, yes, Brett, they're all going to the same pool of candidates. The tool literally takes the list that you upload and just spontaneously divides it 50-50 to different folks. So this is going to be a reason that will deter your company name from getting responses. So take a look. This is literally what we put in our spreadsheet is we have a current company. So what we pull from LinkedIn, GitHub, etc., and what we change it to for messaging, right? Hey, how's life at UBS Wealth Management? What? Right? UBS. How are things at, I don't even know what the hell this whole thing says, but if I reached out with this, that'd be the worst, right? Or Venture Technologies LLC in all caps. You have to clean up the data. If you don't, this will get a crappy open rate because it comes across as spam. Yes, David, good points about cleaning up data. Next, subject lines. Keep them to less than 37 characters. So first point to note, most people are checking their email on their phone. This is actually a source, if you look, it was calculated from over 1 billion opens tracked. Gmail and the iPhone are the two highest use cases. So 36 characters, just to keep in mind, right? 37 characters, this, keep them to less than 37 characters, is 36 characters long. Wasn't done intentionally, right? So give you an idea of how long your subjects should be. This is the journal article that actually talks about subject line length directly and goes into why this is the optimal number. They're going to give you 41 as the number. They're going to say 41 characters is the max you should use. However, I say 37, and the reason I say 37 is when you send your second email as a follow-up in the same thread, it's going to append RE:space. That, if we're mathing at a high level, is 37 plus 4, so 41. So less than 37 characters will show the entire message across. This is Gmail. This is my iPhone emailing. Interestingly enough, and I'm intrigued if anybody else has done any research on this, mine were only showing 32, 33 characters at the most. So I'm on an iPhone X. I do understand the size of your phone matters, right? This is the one time where size does matter. So if anybody else can do any research on this, I'd love to see it. My wife and I both have the same phone, so it was difficult to kind of cross compare with different phones. Guillaume. So regarding the words, I actually have a study or two that was done on this. FYI, guys, here's a couple of articles around subject length. They don't have any data to support them. I wanted to share them. They both say something very, very similar, but just throwing it out there. There is no actual research data that they share. Next, subject line length, the data. So interesting thing. This was sent to retail, so people actually selling things. This was consumer services, which would actually be more like recruiting, right? What you're going to notice is there's actually a lower correlation between open rate and the average length of emails than what we originally thought, or than what I originally thought. So if you're reading this here, which if I stop moving the mouse, you'll actually be able to read it. While there is a direct correlation, it's not quite as strong as people think. So the four things obviously take away. Most important words first. Subject line as short as possible to convey the message, right? You still have to convey the message. However, they found that using longer subject lines does have a place when used correctly to convey a very specific reason. And then my favorite part of all this, when in doubt, just test it, right? If you don't know, just test it. Again, the article is right here. Go download it. Cool, checking questions. All right, let's talk about a couple myths, because we all are gonna see these people claiming, yes, no, don't do this. So the first one was, should you use numbers in the subject line? So here's 2 articles published that swear by not using numbers in the subject line. Here's 2 articles that swear by not using numbers in the subject line. And here's my examples of what happens when I use numbers in the subject line. It's not universal. For me, I stopped doing it because I saw enough times that it was happening where the open rate was lower. But guys, there's no right answer to this, right? This is one of those places where it's just a crapshoot, right? Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Again, test it. See what works for you. See what your audience responds to, right? This will change by country, by role, by company you're reaching out from, right? Like I'm an agency, so it's going to be harder for me to get open and reply rates than it will if you have a name brand company behind you. Myth number 2, asking a question in the subject line. Yes, David, titles with numbers have seen more data to support depending on how the numbers are used. So it's going to be, there's no blanket statement of yes, use numbers, no, don't use numbers. So guys, asking a question in the subject line, what do we think? Yes or no? Yeah, check that out. Literally, look at this. Look at this. No, yes, yes, no, yes, no, 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 yes, yes, no, 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 no. Yeah. So guys, check this out. Ready? Yeah, absolutely. This is a scientific journal article written about asking questions in the subject line. What? And here's a Yesware article on not using questions in the subject line. So interesting. Ready? Do is done with research. Don't is done with historical data. We assume, because Yesware doesn't publish where they get all of their data for all of this research. So we're assuming that it's historical. But does it work? Does it not work? I don't know. What do you trust more? A scientist doing research or a blog supposedly using historical data? I'm a proponent of not asking questions typically, but again, there's a time and a place, right? One of the things the article is saying is if you're using a question mark, use a personalized greeting to significantly improve the open rate of the email marketing campaign, right? So here's the last one. Guys, have you guys ever looked up a list of like the spam words and phrases that you should avoid to go into the inbox? Anybody? Yes or no? Yes, I've looked at this. No, I don't give a shit. Throw me in the spam box. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's great. Oprah. Hell yeah. Guys, check this out. Here's a really good comprehensive list. Here's a good comprehensive list with different words. Here's a good comprehensive list with different words. Here's a good list, different words. And here's a good list with different words. Oh, but wait, there's a good list with different words. We can keep going. All of these are comprehensive lists of whatever BS you want to say. They all share different words and phrases. Yes, there's crossover for sure. But like, how the hell do you know which one to prove? And none of them have research. So be mindful when you're looking at something like this. Yes, David, it is an algorithm that drives spam filters, and it's not just based on the words. It's based on how many times you've used the words in similar fashions or similar orders that will also trigger it. Teddy, exactly right. Literally stop messaging people at all. We're back to carrier pigeons. Bat signals seem to work right now, right? It's amazing. Do I have any stats for open rates using emojis? I don't. I did not get to research that because I've never done it, and I didn't want to solely provide research data. I don't have any historical data to back it up. I just don't do it. Brett, Telegraph, hell yeah, absolutely. Great way to communicate, no spam filter, right? All right. Now we're getting into the body of the message. So message in your face. So what does this mean? This literally means when you are writing an email, the same way that if anybody was like an agency recruiter back in the day, 10 plus years ago, you probably remember the phrase smile and dial, right? And why? Why smile and dial? Because you sound different when you're smiling. If you don't believe it, call one of your friends and ask them, right? See if they can tell when you're smiling. They can, your voice changes. Really quick, have some questions. Any info on meme use and open rates? Hell yeah, I have info on that. I use GIFs or memes in every single outreach I do. Hell yes, I have data on that. We're getting there. Heard an exec search company had this as the best ever open rate. Confidential search, asterisks are king. Cool. Yeah, I mean, show me the data, I guess. Do I reach out to people through Facebook, Twitter, or Insta? Depends on the search, Nancy. There's a time and a place for everything, in my opinion, honestly. A lot of retailers and e-commerce companies use emojis. Yes. So here's the thing. A lot of retailers and e-commerce companies use them. So like, I'm not e-commerce or retail. And so my hesitancy is every time I've seen them in a subject, it's been from either spam or been from like a, Groupon or Express or some stuff like that. Smile when you dial. Any data on SMS? No. This is all about email best practices. Unfortunately, Brett, I would love to do a formal study on that. Wink, wink, reach out. So guys, super important. Message both in your face and it will change your voice in how you're writing. Right? So really important to approach all of your emails really positively. Also really important to realize as we are advancing, and COVID has really pushed this a lot, the amalgamation, for lack of better words right now, of personal life and work life, personal communication and work communication is slowly but surely becoming one form. Right? The days of writing dear sir or madam or hello first name are slowly dying. If you don't believe so, try A/B testing it. It doesn't get a good response because it doesn't read genuine anymore. Authenticity is winning, right? If you're a Brene Brown fan, you know she preaches authenticity, being genuine, and it's true. That's where we are right now. It's where we're moving to. So again, the entire article right here, go download it, read it, fact check me. Geography matters. Yeah, geography does matter for sure. Body of the message. So here's my tip. Read the email out loud. So guys, this doesn't mean like in your head or like, No. Read it out loud. Say it like you're saying it. Yeah, you're going to look like the crazy person in the office. Fine. Deal with it. If you're already not the crazy person in the office, like you'll get there quick. We're sourcers. So what I want people to do is actually read the messages and see if it sounds like their voice or not. You'll know pretty quick if you're stumbling over your own words, whether it's your voice or not. So you guys can read this. I'm sure you've either read through it or you don't care about journal speak, but these are two different, this is a book. The Purpose of Conversation is Relationship. And this one is a journal article, and both preach the same thing, which is email is slowly but surely moving more and more towards communication. If you look at the dates of these, guys, these are like 20 years old and they're already talking about this. Like, we need to start making this move. Do I take age into account when messaging people? Not usually. I will change it a little bit for Gen Z if I'm reaching out. I have a Gen Z sourcer who works for me. And so I normally get his take on messaging. His name is Nikeo Hill. If you guys want to reach out, he's happy to provide help and advice on how to message Gen Z, and not from like his fluffy opinion. He's actually a Gen Zer. So good resource. Yeah, Nikeo Hill is awesome. So guys, really important that we're getting away from this business speak and professional speak. I have a story that I'll share at the end that is a direct life lesson that I went through. It's a personal story. It's a true story that reflects this. So it could work. If you know this movie reference, we could 100% have a beer and hang out. If not, we should probably have a beer, hang out, and watch this movie. So guys, could it work? Is it really that straightforward, right? If I keep in mind just these simple 3 facts regarding subject lines, I don't know. Let's find out, right? And messaging. So let's take a look side by side. We sent this, for the record, both are coming from the same person, right? So my buddy owns an agency and we wanted to do a test. He thought his messaging was baller. I thought mine was better. So we sent it from his email address. So all of the recipients are getting it from his email address, and we divided them spontaneously and randomly in half, half on mine, half on his. Here's what we're looking at. First message, check this out. 1 sentence, 1 slightly longer sentence, 3 bullet points, some links to click on. 2 things that kind of look like paragraphs. 53 and 69 or 61% open, 60% open. So how's my telepathy? Cute. This one is company. Check this out. 5% response rate, 11% response rate. These strategies work. Second email. We are responding to the same email, which I'll talk about in a minute. You should 100% do this. Again, 1 sentence, 1 sentence, 1 slightly longer sentence, 3 bullet points, again, with articles, right? Data. Don't just say that our CEO, blah, 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 were mentioned by Forbes. Give the article. Super easy to read. A paragraph, right? 9% reply rate, 2% reply rate. We're going to keep going. I'm not done. Number 3, ready? 1 sentence, 2 sentences. Short, simple. 1 sentence, freaking paragraph, 1 sentence. 11% reply rate, 1% reply rate. Guys, it's literally night and day difference. How many candidates would you usually target to send email for each position? So you need to set this strategy. I'm sending them anywhere from like 80 to 200 typically. Thanks, Aaron. That's usually mine, but it's the way my business model works. It depends on whether you're trying. A lot of it determined by location, what type of role, what company you work for. Are you a sniper? Do you want to get a talent map of the market, or are you looking to get 1 human for the job, right? So next one, the 4th one. Oh, look, a meme. So again, you're going to notice the reply rate doesn't seem that different. We're on a 4th email. It's technically double, but we're not going to count it. This one is a little longer than I normally do. However, again, the breakup and breakdown of things does work better even than this cute little did telepathy misfire, right? Overall, just to note, both of these had a 0% unsubscribe, just to be clear on that. This one was the one in mine, 69% open, just a little better, 30.5% versus 9.8. So if you're not sure, like, will this really work? Yeah, it really works, guys. This is real world data I'm showing you. So next, use humor. Again, if you know this movie, we could probably throw quotes around together. If not, it's Dodgeball, and you should watch this movie. It's amazing. But guys, using humor is a huge facet of generating high response rates. So one of the interesting things that is brought up in this article is it says all emails should be proofread, and replies must be carefully considered. And it mentions, where am I? And humor applied conscientiously, right? So couple things. 1, this is a journal article telling you to use humor, just for the record. 2nd, you have to be conscientious about it. So I typically, for my new folks who start, I have them run the memes by me initially, because there may be really funny things that may be taken out of context by some people, right? Like right now, for example, in America, you have to be super careful about using people of different nationalities or races in memes, even if there's 0 intention. Right now, pretty tough time. So how do you figure out what type of memes or GIFs to use? You're always going to be better with pop culture references. Always just use that. Do I have examples of memes which worked? Yeah, I do. I have a ton of them on my Facebook page. I actually have an album with Erin Matthew where we share all of the memes that we use. We're not going to share any of the ones that don't work, obviously. But yeah, you'd be surprised how often they actually work to generate response. So guys, interesting fact, emotional responses to things is the #1 motivating factor to elicit behavior. Behavior meaning actually action, taking action. So guys, do you know what the #1 emotion is that elicits action? Anybody? No, it's actually fear is #1. Humor is yeah, nice, Edgar. Humor is #2, right? So #1, fear, don't use that. It's a bad approach. Trust me. Use humor. It is the second most influential emotion to determine behavior. Someone asked, does this work at all levels? So I used these for a CFO search, VP of operations, a VP of, what was the other one? HR, a president of the board for some CPG company, head of people in Seoul, South Korea. I use them for everyone. And here's the reason. There's no one who gets a laugh out of something, a genuine like, oh, that was funny, and then dislikes that thing. That's not a real thing, right? When you laugh at something, it fills you with a good feeling. It doesn't matter if you're a CFO, a CEO, a college grad, a 9-year-old. It doesn't matter. Don't message 9-year-olds for work, for the record. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what you do for work. Funny is funny. Does that mean I send the same meme to CFOs as I do software engineers? Hell no, right? So you have to, again, understand your audience. What if they don't find your joke funny? Then you're not being funny and you should reevaluate what memes you're sending. If you're not naturally like a funny person or you don't think you're funny, send it around to people. I would always suggest send it to one of your parents or more seasoned relatives and send it to anybody you know that's either in college or just out of college to get the extremes and kind of see what they think. Make better jokes. Yeah, that's exactly right. What about personal compliments? So I don't have research to support this. I think super overt personal compliments are come across super spammy, at least to me. Again, this is an opinion. This is not data driven. When you're like, hey, you have an amazing profile. That is literally what every spammer says to me. You have an awesome profile. You'd be perfect for a job. You have really strong recruiting chops. Like, based on, right? If you were like, hey, if you're reaching out to a bunch of people who graduated from the same university, right? And you're like, hey, I'm using my intuition here or assuming that you're highly intelligent. I know you graduated from blank university and we've had a lot of success hiring folks from there. That's totally different. You're being very specific as to why you are complimenting them and what you're complimenting them on, not just their awesome profile or whatever BS. Use of profanity, no. That was easy. No, I swear like a sailor, and I'm telling you, do not use profanity in your outreach emails. So here, somebody was asking about this. Do you have any stats on images, memes, GIFs? Sure do. So check this out. If you're reading, you can read, where is this? H4, higher response rates correlate with more images. There is a limit to the images just for spam filters and stuff like that. So, but guys, there is a positive correlation between images and email sending. So if you're getting pushback from executives on like, we don't think we should do that, just share this article with them and say, cool, as long as you're okay doing something that doesn't generate the highest level of response rate, then fine, yeah, that's totally cool. Let's do that. That sounds like a smart idea, right? Again, you have to be tasteful in how you're doing this. You have to be smart about how you're doing this. And if you stick solely to pop culture references, right? Movies, famous memes, right? Like that, the Willy Wonka meme, the Dos Equis guy, the all like the normal ones that you can bet people have seen, right? Stranger Fiction memes, right? It's one of the most watched shows ever. feel pretty safe about that. The Matrix, one of the most watched movies, at least for its time, right? So be mindful again about stuff like that. Dad humor does work, Aaron Lentz. It works really well because people will either laugh at the joke or laugh at you, and either of those is fine, totally fine. Next, this one shocked me. This actually wasn't in my presentation, but I kept coming across it, which is using color in your emails, right? So, oh my God, Game of Thrones memes. Yes, love. Garrick, I use Batman memes all the time. It's with my brand, you know? So guys, interesting article on using color in emails. So you can read right here, color does make a difference. And if you don't think color makes a difference, look at the color of LinkedIn's logo, and then the color of Facebook's logo, and then the color of Twitter's logo. And if you're thinking, oh, that's a weird coincidence, no, it's not, right? That was done for a reason. When you read this, you're gonna read in there that pastel colors tend to work better than really hard or bright colors for eliciting response. But generally red is a color that issues a whoop, you know, pay attention, like this, right? You get a little bit almost like anxiety and like, oh, what's happening, right? Blue is very calming and relaxing. That's generally why people use blue. Green is not typically a color most people suggest. It is a go color, but you know, yes, I'm using Deadpool. I found that GIF and I laughed for like 30 seconds straight, so I did it. So again, read this article. Now, what I will say about this, guys, don't change your text font. That is the 100% wrong thing they're saying here. What I think I took away from this was I always make sure the links I share are colored blue, right? Because they do attract your attention. Again, they're blue, right? I also make sure that somewhere in my signature there's color, whether that's a picture of me, yeah, blue Power Ranger, nobody's favorite. That's okay. And if I'm wrong, literally tell me that the blue Power Ranger is your favorite, please, somebody. But I try to have an image in my signature, and I'm also mindful with my memes, right? My memes typically don't have a ton of red or yellow in them. They're really bright. They're distracting. They're going to pull your eye away from the words as opposed to adding like context and depth to the words. All caps is a dead no. It doesn't matter what you read where. All caps is 100% no. Research says no. Historical data says no. Random people with fluffy opinions say no. It's a no. Don't do that. So, warning about all of this, about your memes, about your GIFs, about your emails. Looks matter. Again, another great movie. If you're rocking with this reference, I get you. I understand. It's not Wednesday. We'll wear pink tomorrow. Erin, caps and lowercase, 100% response rate. So guys, looks matter. Not your looks. You're all perfect snowflakes. The look of your email matters. The way it's physically laid out matters. So what do I mean? As I showed earlier, 1 to 2 sentences per section is easier to read, right? This is the article again that speaks to the exact way that laying things out in text helps. All right, yeah, it's a Beauty and the Beast reference. Yeah, I love it. It's not my favorite. Aladdin's my favorite, but like this was more relevant. So guys, ready for this? We're going to take a little poll. Check this out. Give it just a quick, you don't have to read the whole thing, but just take a look at it. And then take a look at this one. And then this one. And then this one. Which one's more comfortable, guys? Right? If you notice, I'll go a little slower. They're the exact same message. Exact same. So guys, I want you to respond to me in the chat. Which is better, Batman or Superman? Batman or Superman? Which is, yeah, exactly, yeah, Batman, obviously, right? That's what I've been saying forever. Liz, can you please save this chat? This is super important to me right now. That is awesome. So guys, TLDR, this is more of a millennial thing. So my Gen Xers, if you don't know what this is, don't worry about it. TLDR stands for too long, didn't read. If you send me an email with 3 chunky paragraphs in it, I literally write back to you, TL semicolon DR. That's the response you're getting. I have ADHD. I don't want to read friggin' paragraphs. We've all gotten text messages from one of our parents or someone we love that's like this, right? I receive a message like this and I'm like, oh, Mom, for the love of Pete, dude, like, I don't need a novel. Just for the love of God, just send me a short message, right? I understand what you're saying. So this gives me anxiety and anger. When you're dealing particularly with millennials, younger Gen X and Gen Z, we email the same way we text. We don't see a difference. One goes to your phone every time, and one goes to either your phone or your computer. So keep that in mind, right? So 3 sections is the ideal number of sections to have. If you notice, most of mine start with an intro sentence, a block of 1 or 2 longer sentences with data, and then 1 section of bullet points. That's it. 3 sections, close out, right? Also, you can read, obviously, right here, it talks about how email length and number of images account for 54% of the variance in response rate. So, guys, super important. Got to keep this in mind when we're reaching out. The goal, so I'm going to ask everybody, and I'm assuming we're all going to get this, and if not, that's fine also. What's the purpose of sending someone an email? A recruiting email, specifically, about an open job. What's the purpose? Yeah. Getting a response. Awesome. What's the purpose of sending literally anyone an email about anything? Getting a response. That response may be getting them to click a link or buy something, but it's always about getting a response. So keep that in mind. We're not trying to explain to everyone the subtle intricacies of working at our company and the nuances of this job. That's not the goal of an email. All right? So best practices, this is the part where most people scoff at me for this. The first section is your subject line. No, subject line is separate. And then within the email, 3 sections. Opening section, 1 sentence typically. Next 2 sections, which may have a little bit more data, 1 sentence, maybe 2 per section. And then closing. So guys, check this out. Send more emails than you think. 4 to 7 emails is the ideal number. Here's the statistics. It's an article about it. They did a huge research study on this. And less than 200 people in a campaign yields the highest responses. If you're sending emails to more than this, please understand you are lowering your chances of getting the highest return rate for the work you're doing. Next, cadence. Guys, this gets people like crazy and they don't believe me, right? I literally send an email day 1, then day 2, right, the very next day, and then 2 days later, and then 2 days later, and then 1 day later, right? So you're getting, and maybe sometimes at the end I do 2 days, so it's day 1 through day 8. No, not 4 to 7 emails per day, 4 to 7 emails total when you're reaching out about a job. Right. So first email, hey, here's what I do. Here's a job. Email 2, hey, just following up from my previous email. Here's some more data about our company. Email 3, making sure you're still breathing. Email 4, here's an image. Email 5, hey, WTF, where are you? Right. So yeah, Guillaume, I would love to see data on that because I've done this so far in Berlin, Melbourne, Australia, Seoul, South Korea, and Oman. And the US and Canada. And I have not had that experience yet. And if you're thinking, oh my God, dude, that'd be a huge unsubscribe rate, check this out. Yes, 4 to 7 emails to the same person. Absolutely. So guys, check this out. Isn't that too many? That's always what I hear. So here's some data. You want data? This is a current client, New York Times. And here are the number of people we messaged in the last 6 months, 5 months, 5.5 months. 3,440 people messaged, exactly 3,440. You ready for this? That's the total number of unsubscribes out of 3,440 messages sent. 11. And if you want me to, I'll math it for you real quick. That's a 0.2% unsubscribe rate. All right. How low is that? Right? 0.2%. Now I'm actually going to share with you the highest unsubscribe rate we've had, which was for a few roles we did for Business Insider. Right? On this one, you can see the total emails we sent, 497. I don't know if you can add this up or not, but it was, again, 11 unsubscribes. 2.2% unsubscribe is the highest we've had since we've been doing this. Your unsubscribe link shows in your email. Yes, it does. Because I don't want to get sued. I'm already worried about getting sued from DC Comics. I don't want to get sued for violating the Canon Spam Act. Sorry, messages. Do I distinguish between email marketing and a separate personal message? No, they should be one and the same, in my opinion. If we're using small enough pools of candidates, you should be able to personalize it specifically for that group of people. Reggie, depends on the content of the email. Yes, absolutely. I have never had people not respond on purpose just to see the next message if it's funny. Yet, I mean, maybe. I've never seen it so far. I am the one who doesn't see a slide unsubscribe link, blah, blah, blah. Cool. When are you on? Oh, sorry, not for me. Cool. So, best practices. So you'll follow back up, right? So, guys, people do not believe me about this. When you send a second email, third email, fourth email, reply to the same email you sent before. Don't send them a new email. Go to the sent message and click reply, and then write your message there, or use an email automation tool. Here's the data. You want the data? It's literally from a study online. So the two things I do all the time, I will first reply to the exact same email, so it's all in one thread. Second, I will let them know, hey, I'm going to follow back up with you if I don't hear back from you. So that way, people can know you're going to get another email from me. It does a couple things. One, they're like, oh, no, I don't want to get another email. Let me deal with this right now and not blow it off. Number two, it shows that you have follow through and follow up. You said you're going to do something, you did it, which makes you better than 90% of the recruiters out there already. How many people should we approach with one job opening? I do not, because it depends completely on what job, what company you work for, the location you're in, and your general approach to recruiting workflow and process. How does the email content info change throughout the follow-ups? If anybody wants, reach out to me. I will literally send you the format template of how I send emails and kind of what type of data I put where and the general readability of each of my messaging. How many reminders? I send 5 every time, 6 some of the time. So the last thing. So what do we do now? Guys, the easiest way to, does it actually matter if you click reply in the email versus say a new email that is visually indistinguishable from the one you had before done that? I don't know that I necessarily understand. The purpose of doing it that way is so it shows to them RE:space. As well, when you reference, hey, following up from my email yesterday, your email is appended to the bottom. So they can physically see that, oh yeah, they did write to me yesterday. Great point. That's the reason I do it. And the last data shows that this definitely is going to be the better approach for response rate. The last piece, guys, test what you're doing. I'm not going to read this all out to you, but you want to test things syntactically, historically, and then derived. So are there any particular keywords that are working for you? Any particular order, right? We did a ton of this to figure out what type of words, what type of subject, what type of opening line, and just compared them, right? And then we used syntactical to figure out the words, historical to validate whether it works. And then we actually derive from that, okay, which of these things that we change that we're doing is the most impactful? I thought 3 follow-ups already could be a lot. Nope. I have both historical data and research data to show. It's 4 to 7 is the number. So I'm going to end with a personal story. This is 100% true, guys. Always important to be yourself. Communicate the way that you communicate. And at the end of the day, if you are genuine, you're authentic and a good human, you will see a higher rate of success than trying to be a business professional. So my sister, younger sister, she's one of my best friends, super smart, right? Went to URI. Oh God, that Bain was the friggin' worst. Went to URI, double degree finance and accounting, got her MFA or MBA afterwards from Northeastern, worked at New York Life for almost 10 years, doing financial analysis, right? So New York Life, huge insurance company, super like buttoned up, whatever. She approached me and said, hey, I'm thinking about looking for a new job. Can you help me? And I'm like, yeah, obviously, this is the one time in your life that I can professionally help you. I'm on it. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to find a job you want. I'm going to find who it reports to and the recruiter or head of recruiting. And then you're going to write a custom email to them. And it's going to be exactly why you want this job, this company, et cetera. And we're going to reach out directly instead of applying. So week later, a week and a half, she sends me an email, says, hey, I really like this job at Bed Bath & Beyond, right? It is for a strategic finance manager in supply chain. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you've been a financial analyst at an insurance company. Why do you think that would be a good fit, right? And she's like, well, I think it would be a fun job for me. And I think that honestly, I'd be really good at it. I was like, okay, fine. Like write an email, and email goes exactly how you think. Dear hiring manager, I found your job on LinkedIn and think that I would be an excellent fit. I'm very interested in your role because my skill set from New York Life matches very well with the job description. I'm like, oh my God, that's so awful, right? And so I said, no, why do you want to work there? And she said, because I think my skill set would line up really well with the and I'm like, Lauren, bullshit, right? Like, I'm your brother. Why do you want to work there? She's like, oh, I have 3 kids. I shop there all the time. And I think they're doing cool stuff to compete with Amazon. And I'm like, yeah, write that, dude. Write that out. And she's like, I'm not telling some potential hiring manager that I have 3 kids in an intro email. And I was like, do you not have 3 kids anymore? I was like, one's my godson. Like, I really hope you still have 3 kids. So I'm like, just trust me. I'm like, please, just write this and we'll send it. So she did. She put all that in an email. And then lo and behold, guys, she's a manager of strategic finance at Bed Bath & Beyond. She got the job and her hiring manager specifically told her, if you just applied, I never would have interviewed you. Your background did not line up for the job, right? Jim Schneider, you're going to love this. That's my meme at the end. So that's great. Guys, any questions?
So final questions, and then we're going to switch room. We actually went over on our break. So
Sorry.
Awesome. No, I think a lot of people were really engaged, so I didn't interrupt it. But I think what we'll do is we'll look at here. And I think you did cover quite a few of them, but we will follow up in terms of they will be here, and we'll follow up separately. So, because it was like, what tool do you use to automatize the count of email that you sent per position, the tracking? This may not be on similar lines, but what about LinkedIn email? InMail, your favorite. Okay, and then one, Waka Waka. How do you understand your audience? How do you find out you needing to mention salary in the subject line? So I think these are great topics also for the table discussion. So remember, everybody, in room 4, this is going to be your voice, the sharing. So please also make use for it. So we're going to have table talks there during the breaks when they happen. There will be music in room 3, but also you can do talks with your other colleagues here. So make use of room 3 and 4 for these sidebar discussions. Excellent questions. Oh my God, well done. So proud of you.
Guys, I'm here. I'm here today, tomorrow, Thursday. Yeah. Just message me. Happy to pop on a table, share screen, geek out with you guys. Please reach out. I love collaborating.
Yeah. Awesomely done. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Awesome. So we're going to take a 5-minute break. Okay. And then we're going to be back up here talking about life as a journey, not just a destination, a sorcerer's journey from Aaron Lintz. And then in room 2, that's going to be Mark Crunchy, talking about serious sourcing for serious tech recorders. So this is my Wonder Twin. So here we have Selena and Batman going on. Mark is my Wonder Twin powers because we activate. We're both transforming talent. I mean, how could we not?
Wow.
I know. Okay, great, everybody. Have a good break. See you soon.